We have a couple major things to discuss today. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve as written.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye. We can get a second.
No, we're gonna get a second. David did.
Okay.
David was quiet over there. You got a second.
I'll raise my hand.
But none of us down
Thank you,
here
David.
None of us down here can hear.
Yeah.
Second.
Next minute is approval of the minutes. The minutes of the short meeting on the transfer has not been sent, so they will be finished and sent for the next meeting. Okay. So we don't have to approve them because they're not ready. TIF area balances. We have, let me just put them back in the real order. Okay, TIF allocation 1, which is the courthouse. $289,679.91. Web, or Wapaka would be the next one. It's 800, I think that's 840.
640.
641, 640, 387.13. Thank you. Light's not very good, sorry. Web wheel, which is TIF area number 4, is 325,288.
Yes.
88.35. And then of course Riverview West, which is our only technically active TIF at this point, is $4,457.26. Forest Camp Heights update. There's a couple of things we need to update, and I've been trying to get a call back to Indiana Realty, who has actually, we did sign a contract, so they put the lots out on the system, whatever system it is. That did expire. I did not get a chance to talk to her. I've been out of town for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to try to follow back with her at this point. So we're under no contracts. So it's something we probably want to discuss at some point. Do we want to recontract with them or not? Do we want to throw it back out to all the realtors to see if anybody else is interested? Which probably would be a bad thing. Just because we did get some complaints the last time, but she was still the only one that didn't want to charge us, which I don't understand why we got complaints, but that's another story.
Did get a call this weekend. Builder wants another lot.
Yep. So we do have lot number 8. Yes. In fact, I talked to them today, sent in some information.
Who's one that was? Another builder?
Another builder. Yeah, and it's actually for an individual that wants it. So it's not a spec home. It's actually being built for an individual, from what I understand. I think that should be finalized within the next couple of days, so that'll actually final. And in talking to some of these, we've got 2 builders right now, Ron and Arnold's, that kind of act like as they build houses and they sell, they're going to just keep moving more houses. So that's encouraging. That's really what we were looking for, is to have local. And the idea was local builders, right? Mm-hmm. We're trying to get our construction trade business back. And this is, I think, has been somewhat successful in doing so. I mean, that was part of the deal. So that has been very, very, very encouraging. Potentially another lot sold, Tony. We'll be selling here. I will know more in the next couple of weeks, because Ron sold the second house. Sounds like that's going to get done. It hasn't closed already. And he's talked about doing another one again. So they're moving. We're moving them. Still getting mowing done. So probably on the listing expiration, I'll put that on the agenda again for next meeting. I'll get more information. I tried to reach out to her. We didn't connect today, so we didn't get any of that finalized. So we won't do anything until we meet on that again. If that's okay. So think about it. If we want to redo it, don't want to redo it, reasons why, reasons not. We can have that conversation next time. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's really going well out there. We haven't pushed the Comcast thing much further from a legal standpoint. I just don't want to spend a bunch of money if we don't have to. Andrew did send another letter to them, and they've been really difficult. I'll just be nice about it. They've been really difficult to deal with.
They haven't come back since.
I don't know, I haven't gone out to look to see if they reconnected what they had left over. I have not been out to look. Did a little cleanup on the entrance. I went out one day and did that. Got stuck at the bottom of the hole. My wife that came out, we pulled it out. That was okay. It's kind of interesting. So I talked to Ryan about mowing the drainage pit. And he doesn't really have the equipment to do so. So I'm back to trying to figure that out. We may just do a weekend and we'll go out and just cut trees. Get Hank or something, you can cut trees. They're little trees. Okay. So one thing I want to talk to the next mower about is the entrance road, which is technically a county road. I think it would be nicer if we kept that cleaner. They do a pretty good job on one side. The other side's kind of a pain. So it's really weed eating. So the next contract that's going to be front and center, I really think we just need to keep that really, really well dressed out, in my opinion. So that's where we are with Forest Canton. I think we're still progressing well. I think we're really on track. So, if we get these lots sold, only we're almost half, in a year and a half. So I think we're doing well. The main topic for today is referred to as Project Falcon. I think if you read some things, apparently when I was gone, it came public which company this was. It's a current company in town that's wanting to expand. With that expansion, I've been in contact through Aaron and PCDC over the last year and a half or 2 years now with the project coordinator. So this has been kind of in the back works for a while. And they're ready now to make a final decision. Apparently the board of directors is not 100% approved. Is that fair, Jonathan? Yeah. Fair, Aaron? But the conversation we had is they need that right now. They have a pit, call it a pit, call it a pond, whatever you want to call it, for their fire suppression, because the city does not have ample water lines to put fire suppression in their building. With this expansion that they have, it's going to be necessary to do. We've already done some preliminary stuff with the city. The city does not have the pressure coming into their line, but we've also had conversation with Wapaka. Wapaka does off their line. So the engineers right now are working on the scheduling to figure out what it's going to cost to hook them up to the Wapaka line, which I'll call it the Wapaka line, so that we can get ample pressure so they can put a suppression system into their building. So indirectly, I can't promise what this board wants to do, but I told them we would totally consider it using some of the web wheel money. And I think right now, my thought is to allocate potentially up to $300,000 for water, the new water line, and the conversation came out about building fees from the city, which we've estimated that could be somewhere around 200. I don't want to shortchange them in case we run into something and have to. So my thought was, all I'm asking, I guess we're asking today is if we could say, yeah, we're good with the project, not to finalize any numbers until we get real numbers. So yeah, we would do up to $300,000 for those two items, all pending on the actual bills to be approved before it's actually done. So we'll get engineer estimates, and then at that point we can do a final approval of how many dollars we're willing to do. But I think what they're looking for is a commitment from this commission that we would work with them. In reality, this is really kind of their money, because we would take it from the Web Wheel TIF. There's $325,000 in there. It's money that Web has been putting in through the tax side of things anyway. So if we can help them out, we're going to help them out, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
So this is for the web well expansion, just to clarify.
As the paper says.
Okay.
It's actually technically, I think it's still technically Project Falcon. Is that fair?
It was all announced in the public meeting, so it's,
Yeah.
Once you file those.
But I haven't personally got approval. I signed an agreement that I can't talk about it too much, so there we go. How's that? I'm just going to comply with what I know.
So Just to clarify, we're being asked to commit up to up to
I think up to
300,000.
300, just in case we get a hitch. My guess is that number's closer to 200. But I want them to understand from us that we are totally committed to making this happen to the best of our ability. It is not an open check. It'll be funded as we get the estimate / construction cost numbers, and then we will actually pay those dollars.
And what is the city fee that we're gonna?
I'm not 100% sure. It should be somewhere north of 30,000 from what the estimates that I've received so far, and that's for the building fees. So the city has building fees based on square footages. Once again, we got to get all the numbers. So once we get the numbers, the estimate came in. I think it was around 30,000 ish.
Is it, you talk about tapping into Wapaka's water source, is Wapaka in it?
Yes, the pocket's on.
Or are they gonna incur anything?
No,
I mean, Wapaka.
no, the pocket should not incur anything. It's the only place we got water pressure. For us, because of the tower. For us to get water pressure from the city, we don't have to. Because the water lines that they currently have, they're just not ample, which I think may have been their original problem, which is why they put the pond in. Which is really, to me, not an ideal way to fire suppress a building, is out of pumping out of a pond. So
But the tower was built through TIF funds.
the tower was,
The water tower was built through TIF funds.
So,
no, it's actually a loan through the Port Authority.
Yeah, and
So the Port Authority got a loan, the Port Authority's got a loan, and I think that loan came through the REC program, because the Port Authority actually has the debt on that water tower, but it's paid for by fees from the pocket. So it's kind of a wash, but the port right now actually has the debt.
Wapaka is fully on board to figure out how.
So when we hit the obstacle, that's what we found out. Wapaka said, you know what, we're fine. So they were pretty good about saying, hey, we're okay with all this. Because it's, they need that company too. So I guess what I'm asking, is from this commission to say, yes, we're fine, pending the final billing, or final estimates, I should say, on final cost. So this is, again, I don't want an open checkbook to this. I want to make sure, and we would actually pay those fees. So we would pay it directly from ours, not to them. It would come from us to the, whichever company, of course, the city for the fees, but for whoever has a bid for the water line. So we would pay that direct. But they wouldn't incur the cost. That's kind of where I'm at. Any other questions, comments?
I'd like to hear RJL Solutions' thoughts on this.
The process or the concept certainly something that's been done in other areas. So I think putting the stopgap in there, that you've got the contracts, or you've got the bids, and you're not getting out in one check is a good approach. Certainly something that was expressed in the council meeting a couple weeks ago. So certainly something that well within your powers is for the commission.
And it's paying them directly.
Right. I mean, it's better for you to pay direct to the supplier or the vendor rather than pay the applicant and then pay.
And I'm assuming I summarized this all correctly. Yeah.
So, just so I understand, because I heard about all this. So as far as the RDC, where we're at is using excess TIF funds to help fund this water expansion. They have asked for, tax abatements, correct?
I think there's
This
process. I think there's process.
Nobody has asked for a TIF.
No, it's not as far as I'm.
This is.
And they've asked for tax abatements.
Right.
You guys have,
Which honestly makes total sense.
started that.
So
Yeah,
using
started that
excess TIF funds, the tax abatements, but that's all this company has asked for. It's pretty high.
It's been, and I guess these things are always this way. I'm assuming it's been a long ordeal. a lot of information has been shared. It was competitive, very competitive. And at this point, I think it looks like we're gonna keep it secure, which was really, in my conversation with them or with their representative, kind of in their meetings was, that's our objective. Number one, we can't lose them, or want to lose them. We want to do everything we can do to help them, knowing we have the funds, which technically came from their TIFs. I'm thinking this is absolutely a no-brainer. My guess is unless construction costs totally change, we're gonna be a heck of a lot less than the 300.
Can you explain the city building fee?
So anytime you build a building, there's a building fee.
Okay.
Building fees are based upon square footage.
Okay.
That's how they calculate. And I've already talked to the city to try to get as much of a discount as we can.
Well, that was my next
Yes. No,
question.
we tell city, because they're in the city of Tell City building jurisdiction.
Are they on city property?
Doesn't matter.
No, they're in the county.
It doesn't matter, but they're in the city of Tell City building
We
district.
fall underneath, like, foreskin.
Yeah, just like Forest County.
Okay.
So if you want to build a house, there's a building fee that you have to buy.
So the building fee does the city of Tell City instead of the county?
That's correct, because it's under their building permission.
And we can't even say that?
We're working on it.
Okay.
But I didn't want the company to say, hey, now all of a sudden we're getting ready to do this, and oh, by the way, the city's gonna give you a bill for 40 grand or whatever it's gonna be, or $30,000. And they're gonna say, well, we didn't know about this. And my thought was, you know what, if we can just cut that one off and say, let us deal with it. Because then we can negotiate, I think, a lot better with the city and try to get their costs as much as we can. I don't think we're gonna get it to zero. Because they have a budget they gotta hit. So I don't think we're gonna get it to zero, but we've already talked about having a discount. But I didn't want the company to get surprised. And it's like, I thought, for what, relatively speaking to the size of the project, this is nothing. It's good, the goodwill to say, let us deal with our own people and let's get it done. Is that fair? So, once we know the square footage, once we get all the architectural stuff done, then we'll have the number, that number, we'll get that number. And then I'll sit down with the city and negotiate. That's okay.
Yeah, I would,
If you guys don't want me to, just say, I don't want you to, but that's fine, I'll do it.
we need to negotiate with the city. I mean, this is.
I mean, they do have costs, and I understand that.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So we can't say, you gotta give it all away, but I think they need to give something away. And they're willing to do so. They're willing to do so.
Thank you.
Did this originally start out as 200,000?
Originally, we discussed 200,000, and 200 is probably really the number. I just didn't want to put us to a hard line. So that's why my thought was we do an up to 300, but specifically based upon growth. And my thought there is it's kind of the sales side of saying, look, we are committed. We want this to happen. If this thing ran to 225, I wanted to be prepared to say, fine, let's go. Now, if it gets to 325, then it's like, hey, we need to have another discussion. I don't think it's going to get there. I don't think it's going to get there. So what I'm trying to do is just kind of waiver us a little bit so we got it. And again, we've got the funding for it. And, we just have to believe that we're not here to waste the money, which is why we're going to be part of that bid process for the water. My thought on that is we'll bid that separate. And because that's gonna, and we may bid it through us and let us deal with it. Then we've got total control of that. Which is kind of what we did at Forest Canyon. We ended up with total control of that. Honestly, that was the original number was from hooking to the city water line, which is actually further away than this one. So my thought is, it's the same size, less distance. So I don't believe it's gonna be that high, but I don't wanna put us up against the brick wall. We have to be competent and say, no, we're not doing that. We have to have that ability. And the way we're doing it, I think we do. Because we're not saying, hey, here's a check, go spend it as you please. We're saying, no, we're controlling that process. So that, I think that alleviates them potentially from going out just blowing money, which is not what this commission does, by the way. Never has, since I've been on it. Well, has before, I should say that, never has. Not since we've been in charge. So. There we go.
Okay, so we ask for a motion.
That would be the next step. Yeah, I'm the president. I should.
I'll make it.
No,
I have that right to make a motion, I suppose.
Yes, you do.
So I'll make a motion that the RDC funds out of excess TIF funds for the Red Wheel up to 300,000 in water line costs.
Now, can I add your two, can I add your motion?
And
We will approve, we have to approve this for the construction
I like that.
and pay the rent.
They directly out of our funds.
Okay. So we do have a motion. Any other discussions?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other discussions? Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. That was coffee. We won't take it personally.
Okay. Just don't make me.
We really don't have anything else on the agenda for tonight. We have to be out here by 5, so we can sit around and chat if you like. I think the sports people are coming in after us soon.
Just, wanted to thank everyone involved for getting this project here. Thank you for your work, Jonathan, on it, and, hopefully it'll come through in the final, but thanks for all the work.
Yeah, it's the first time I've been involved in this extensive group. It's been a long. So thank you all. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for the drone shots. All right. Need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
David, no second? I'll second it. All right, folks, thank you very much.